Hi there. Welcome to the Vernon Community Arts Centre and Crafters Corner, where we're looking into the fine art of craft. Here with Bev Vandal, who teaches some of the stained glass classes here. And today she's going to be showing us about her stained glass feathers that are quite lovely and very unique. So welcome here, Bev. Thanks for coming. What can you tell us about this beautiful glass that you're using and what you're making?
Well, we're going to make a stained glass feather out of one piece of glass today. When you're choosing a piece of glass, there's usually a texture side and a smooth side. Choose the smooth side to put your pattern down on. Draw out your pattern. Usually you can get that, off of the internet or draw it out yourself. This one only has 4 pieces.
Nice.
Take a Sharpie, draw around your pattern.
So it's a lovely iridized glass that you're using.
Yes, I love iridescent. I use a lot of iridescent in my pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So just take the pattern off. I've got it already drawn underneath.
It's like the turkey in the oven that's already ready, right?
That's right.
Okay.
When cutting glass, always cut in the same direction with your cutter. This is the way I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say that there's no one way to do stained glass. There's no one way to cut glass.
So true.
Some people cut pulling towards them.
Mm-hmm.
I cut going away from me. I find that pulling towards me, my arm's over top of my line, so you can always see your line if you're going in this direction.
Yeah, good point.
There's an angle to your cutter,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a nice angle. So make sure you're on your wheel. It's a nice wheel.
And you're dipping it in cutting oil?
Cutting oil. Cutting oil is your friend with a cutter,
It'll
right?
definitely prolong the life of your cutter. For sure.
Yes, it does. Your cutter will last for almost ever if you take care of it.
Okay.
So that is not, so cutting, start from one direction, continue your cut all the way through. Whatever you do, don't go back over top of your cut.
Ever, ever, ever?
Yeah,
good point.
Okay, and I'll keep feeling your wheel because there are tiny little pieces of glass that get caught in the wheel. So let's try cutting this and hopefully it doesn't break.
Going in.
And you just need a little bit of pressure.
And steady and follow through, go right to the edge of the glass are all important things that Bev does very well.
Tapping runs the cut. So I always tap. Now, if this doesn't cut.
Do you want running pliers?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh.
Bev is old school. She's been doing
I
this for how many
am
years?
very old school. 35 years.
35 years.
There we go. So
She's the man.
That's how it's supposed to come off.
Good job.
So what I'd like to say as well, like it doesn't really matter with this because it doesn't have to fit inside of anything.
Right.
But you should, when cutting glass, like think about having 100 pieces in a window.
Yes.
If you cut on the outside of your felt pen,
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna, the pieces get larger. This is a puzzle. So try cutting on the inside of your felt pen.
Which is where pattern shears come in handy. They have a groove in the center and they take that extra piece of the paper away.
Right.
So that if you cut your piece correctly, the width of the copper foil on 2 sides will still make your pattern fit. Because 100 pieces that don't fit is a lot of grinding. Isn't
Right,
it?
yes.
Yeah. Nice break.
When taking your piece away, always pull down.
Okay.
So this piece here, well, I'll take this off. This piece, the middle piece, I'll cut up the middle, and then I'll take that off.
Mm-hmm. Now that's a bit trickier break, so the fact that you're going to pull this off is a test.
So this would be 2 pliers.
Beautiful.
And again, pull down from each other.
You can tell you've been doing this for a while, Bev.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, sometimes I even have bad days.
Well,
and those days, I just pack it in and go back upstairs.
And some glass doesn't cut easily either, does it?
No. So then the rest of the pieces, right? The feathers now.
Do you number your pieces with Sharpie when there's a lot of pieces?
When there's a lot of pieces. You would have a template numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and you cut these out.
Okay.
Right? And you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 on your pieces, right?
Right.
And then you'd lay them down on your template. So now we can go on to the grinding. You want your grinding wheel always wet. What I'm looking for is to see if there's any shiny bits still on the glass, and I think that I got it all. But now I'll take off the sharp edges. So now that we have cut and finished grinding the glass, I'm going to wrap some copper foil around it.
Okay.
And show you that technique.
Cool.
So I usually cut the first little bit off.
I love iridescent glass. It's so beautiful.
So I wouldn't start on a arc like this. I would, or an arc like that. If you're doing a circle, I guess, you know, you have to.
You don't really have a choice.
You don't have a choice, and don't start right at an end.
Oh, okay.
And I usually just, you know, line up both sides, you know, look at both sides to begin with. And then after that, I usually just look down the right side.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's different for anybody, you know, and it's different for, you know, everybody gets their own techniques on how they do things.
They do. Especially if you're mostly self-taught. But I think the beauty of taking a workshop with someone else is trying it their way and seeing if that works for you.
And then
why it is that they do things the way that they do them.
So what I usually do is place, say 2 inches on the glass. Just run my finger over it back and forth to make it snug, and then tap down the sides. I don't put down the corners until the end.
That's smart.
Let's cut this. And you have a little bit of tension. Not much, just a little bit of tension when you're running the copper foil. And then I cut it about 1/4 of an inch or so. So the first thing I do is put the corners down.
Oh.
The corners are pretty delicate because they can overlap wrong sometimes. You work with your fid. This is a fid. This is my original fid that 35 years old. So just give it, really work it, because you want to get these, all the little pockets out, because the flux that's used on the copper foil to make the solder stick is kind of an oil base. So if there are little pockets, it'll seep underneath, and then your copper foil will come away from the glass eventually.
And that's what's holding it together.
That's right.
With the solder. So if the glue lets go, you're kind of hooped.
That's right. And then I do the sides. And really work it. You know.
It's worth it.
It is worth
You want
it.
your project to stay together.
Yeah.
And that's
nice
taking it where the fine art comes in, where
yes.
the art in craftsmanship.
Yes.
Right? When you care about the grain of the glass, you care about trimming the copper foil and making it fit.
fit.
That's the fun
And
part of it.
the funny thing is, like, you'll really see that joint once you've soldered if it's not trimmed up.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so we can go on to soldering now.
So Bev,
Yes.
you've brought another feather out that you've already cut, ground, copper foiled,
That's
and
correct.
it's ready to solder. Is
Ready
that
to
right?
solder.
And you're going to use 60/40 today?
60/40
Is
solder.
that what you prefer?
That's what I use with copper foil. So I have the feather all lined up. So the first thing you do is tack it. So I'll tack it where the four pieces, first of all, where the four pieces join, and then the two pieces there, there, and there.
I think you're incredibly brave, because I would have that pinned into next week.
Oh,
because
no, I
I'm
never do that.
clumsy enough that things would move on me.
So I
admire
just,
you.
I just put a little bit of flux where I'm going to tack.
Okay.
And the reason you tack is it will not move after that. The pieces won't move. Soldering iron. Keep your soldering iron tip clean, and just add a little bit of solder to the tip.
Yes.
It's nice and shiny.
Clean it up.
Clean it up. If it sits in the stand for too long, it a lot of times will get some black oxidization on the tip. Make sure it's clean. Like, this is why you clean it all the time. Just constantly, before you're going to use it, give it a wipe. Because if that oxidization is on the tip and transfers onto your copper foil, onto your solder, it's really hard to clean. So I won't even touch the glass. I'll just drop it on.
You're just anchoring it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Now this won't move. So then
It's
I'll,
completely secure now.
yep. Now I'll flux the rest of it.
And flux helps the solder to run as well as adhere to the copper
Yeah,
foil.
if you don't flux the copper foil, the solder won't stick to the copper foil. Usually I find that there's a nice soldered side, and then the other side's not so nice.
A better end. But when you're using iridized glass, you usually want the iridized side to be the really
That's
nicely
right.
soldered side.
So you start at the top, and you just run it. Run that glass, run the solder. It'll run down nicely. So you flex this side as well, and the sides. And you can be generous with that flux.
Okay.
One thing about soldering the backside, usually it spits.
Hence the safety glasses.
That's right. So I'll usually go along and kind of tin the hole.
Tinning
Back-
is just putting a thin coating
Yeah,
of
just
solder on
the
floor.
back side, and then I'll go over it again
Okay.
to go along the outside. The piece is very hot, so I usually take some paper towel and hold it.
Boy, it doesn't take much solder to tin it, does it?
No. And then I do the flat last. All right. And we have a feather. But let's take a look at the other side and see. A lot of times when you solder the rough side, the opposite side, you need some, sometimes it pools and doesn't look that great. So if it needs a touch up, then you just touch it up.
Great job.
Done. Well, kind of. We
Ish.
will use some calcium carbonate
Okay. And what does
to
that do?
clean. You know what it does? It really soaks up the flux. And you hardly need any. And it cleans up, it just soaks up that flux and cleans up the glass.
Which you have to have. You have to get the flux completely off, or else
Yeah.
you have trouble patining.
So you just work it. You just give it a rub.
And then do you rinse it after that, or just wipe it?
I don't. I just wipe it.
Okay.
Steel wool is great for cleaning.
And that's
after
like a medium grade, right?
Yeah, cleaning the solder, giving it a good wipe after you've done the calcium carbonate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want the solder really clean before you put the patina on. Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is patina, copper patina. And it just looks blue. So it just gets brushed on,
Okay.
like so, and it turns copper
Wow.
right away, copper color. And the really cool thing about the patina is, over time, all you have to do is spray Windex on it or wipe it with some water, and it comes back.
Pops right back.
Yeah, pops right back. And so there you go, stained glass feather.
Oh, Bev, it's just beautiful. So you'll be teaching classes upcoming here at the Vernon Community Arts Center, but is there information about that on your website?
www.stainedglass101.ca and facebook.com/stainedglass101.
Thanks again. You were a fabulous guest. I'm really glad you came and showed us your magic.
Thank you for inviting me.
So thank you for joining us here at Crafters Corner, where we're discovering the fine art of craft, and we hope that you come back and see us again.